Hey guys, Bill Parisi here, founder of the Parisi Speed School. I am here with Dr. Dean Padavan from Atlantic Sports Health of Atlantic Health System, also a physician for the New York Jets. Dean, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And it's a pleasure to have you. I really want to learn more about ankle injuries and how do we avoid them.
Sure.
What have you seen in your practice around the ankle?
Sure. So the ankle is probably a very, very common joint that's injured. And the way we injure it, I'm going to use my hand as a way to describe it, is typically the ankle inverts. So it goes in this direction and stretches the ligaments on the outside of the ankle. And that's what tears and causes the pain and discomfort.
Yeah. What are some of the things that we can do to avoid those injuries, and what can athletes do to help enhance their ability to overcome them?
Yeah, again, it's proper footwear, it's good balance, it's good core strength, it's working on proprioception. I think all that is very, very important, and to try to eliminate or limit these injuries.
Yeah, and how about when you see an injury? How do you diagnose it? What do you go about to treat these injuries?
Yeah, well, first we got to make sure that it's not something more serious, like a fracture or a high ankle sprain. Sometimes we'll get x-rays on these athletes to rule out a fracture. And then we really stick to the RICE principle, so rest, ice, compression, and elevation. A lot of the times we have to immobilize the ankle if it's a severe sprain, and then we slowly and gradually get people back to playing sports.
Yeah. Now when you say high ankle sprain, what exactly is a high ankle sprain? How is that different from a lower ankle sprain?
It's a great question. It's a much more severe injury. So think about the ankle being separated into kind of a lower set of ligaments and a higher set of ligaments. When those higher ligaments are injured, as well as a membrane in between your lower leg gets disrupted, that's when we talk about a higher ankle injury, which is much more severe. And the mechanism of injury typically is a little bit different. So it's not an eversion injury, it's kind of an inversion type injury, if that makes sense, which is usually what causes it. And sometimes these kids have to go towards surgery, so it's a bigger problem.
Wow. Now I know sometimes when kids roll an ankle, they sometimes become chronic, and they go 2-3 times they roll them. What advice can you give to parents and the athletes out there that have rolled their ankles a couple times? I mean, and it seems like it's becoming more chronic. They have these braces on, they're wearing these braces, they're trying to do everything they can. What can you share with some of these people? It's
such a great question. First, I would say don't come back too soon. You really want to take the time to get the ankle to heal. Because by definition, when you sprain your ankle, you're tearing some of these ligaments. So the ankle is becoming a little bit more unstable.
So you're physically micro-tearing the fibers of the tendon.
Yep.
So I think we need to understand that, parents and athletes, that when you sprain an ankle, you cause damage to your body, and if you're not ready to come back, that's why they're rolling again.
Yep. And then some of the muscles get inhibited after you sprain your ankle. So it's really important to wake up some of these muscles, strengthen them, again, to stabilize that joint a little bit better. I'm really into footwear as well, to make sure that you're wearing the proper shoes, flip-flops, less flexible shoes. Obviously, you're more prone. These braces, like you mentioned, some of them are good, some of them kind of just help remind you that you have an injury and you got to get better.
So physical therapy is really key after a sprained ankle. You might think, oh, I sprained my ankle, okay, let me just rest it and go back. But you just said something, inhibiting of the muscles. So when you create these micro tears of the tendons around the ankle, now these muscles kind of shut off, if you will. You got to wake them back up with proprioception work, proper physical therapy work, which could be a game changer. And I think most kids that I see who roll an ankle, who don't go for therapy, they tend to roll it again.
And just like you said, we want to make sure they have full range of motion, full strength, and no swelling, and really no pain at all before they go back. And that gives them the best chances.
That's some great insight, Dean. I can't thank you enough. Thanks for that great insight. Hopefully that's going to help our parents. If you have an athlete that has rolled an ankle, hey, make sure you get them the right therapist, get them involved with Atlantic Health, and get them to that next level.